You're in a good place now. You are listening to Perspectives with Ashley Burgess.
Welcome back to Live Your True Life Perspectives, and I'm your host, Ashley Burgess. This episode of Perspectives is sponsored by FreshBooks, the easy-to-use invoicing software designed exclusively for small business owners. For a free 30-day trial, visit gofreshbooks.com/Ashley. gofreshbooks.com/Ashley. It's time. It's time to do an evaluation of our current life situation. It's time for us to begin to understand and realize when our personal joy is being stolen by outside sources. And, oftentimes you don't realize it. Oftentimes you don't realize that our joy is being taken away. And we don't realize that it's coming and it's really being usurped by an outside source. And so on today's show, I want to talk about and I want to expose the people and the things and the outlets that are stealing your joy. I want to go a step further, and I want to pinpoint why it is stealing your joy, how it is stealing your joy. But I want to go a step further, because I figured out oftentimes in society we can talk about all the downfalls and the pitfalls and the problems and the death and the dismemberment, but when do we offer solutions? Perspectives has always been a show that's always offered real life, genuine, new thought solutions to problems that exist to help your life, to give you more joy, to allow you to experience that life that we all should have if we believe in the process and we do what's right. So let's talk about that joy stealing. I find it interesting, oftentimes we have arguments or fights with our spouses or our children or family or friends, and sometimes we don't even realize where that anger, that resentment, that attitude is coming from. We don't realize that it's really coming into our life from an area that we didn't even realize it was coming from. It's not really work. I mean, work can get us down sometimes, sure. I mean, family, we all have family issues here and there. Some of us have long-term lasting family issues that we either have to deal with or just accept and pray about it and move on. But for the most part, if you really think about it, our joy is not being taken by us or really usually the people around us, but it's more of outside sources. And because it's not around us all the time, or we don't identify it as an individual person, we don't realize the true impact that certain things have on our life, and we don't realize how negative this impact can honestly be. So let's go into this. Who are the key perpetrators of joy thieving, of the stealing of joy in your current life situation? Who are they? And I think it's time that we begin to identify exactly who they are. Because when you realize what's going on, you begin to realize where you stand. When you realize where you stand in life with anything, you're able to understand how you want to react. And more than that, you can understand how much longer you want to be in the situation. Some of us might choose to stick in there. Others of us might actually choose to walk away. That's what's so great about life is we have what? Freedom of choice. We have the freedom to choose what we do. We have the freedom to choose what we allow in our life. And we have the freedom to choose how much we allow certain things to impact our life, meaning we have a lot of choice. We have a lot of choice, and for me, I'm speaking for myself right now, I like choosing wisely because I choose what I'm going to deal with in my day-to-day life. So the first key perpetrator of joy, and I hate to say this because I know some of us, including myself, love it so. It's a love-hate relationship, and I bet that you would probably agree with me that social media, many of us have a love-hate relationship when it comes to social media. You know, some of us like to keep up with our family and friends. Others of us use it as a way to get maybe business in our office or our work, or perhaps maybe expose what we're doing so other people can be cognitive of the progress we're making or the work that we're doing or the basically the geography of the business that we're creating. Whatever that looks like, we're on social media for a reason. Okay? We're not just over there taking all the quizzes and have no reason. Most of us are there for a reason. But what happened when that reason that we were on social media takes a backseat and we begin getting on social media all the time? I don't know about you, but I am, yes, this is what I'm coming clean on this show right now. I have allowed social media to become a large part of my life for not a good reason. And I was on it usually for work. I was on it to publicize the shows, to let the listeners, to let my friends, family, everybody know when the shows are. To let listeners know what content they're going to be able to hear that day. A new station comes along, or the beginning of the Celebrity Perspective, and when it's going to come out on TV and all that kind of stuff. But you know what? It doesn't stop there. It doesn't stop there anymore. Now I want to post pictures and talk about things, and then I want to take these small little quizzes to see what my firstborn would look like that's sketched out by somebody, and who knows how legitimate it is and how many people get the kid that looks just like my kid. And most of the time I don't post that stuff because it's kind of creepy, but I'm still spending time on social media doing this stuff. And I found that when I get off target for why I'm there, I begin to lose my personal joy. And yes, it's not social media's fault. I get it. It's not like, oh, this is all Facebook's fault. And, I have no self-restraint and they are just, giving me the drug of choice and I can't stop jonesing for that drug. Well, I understand that. I get it. It is my problem, but it is a tough drug to overcome. And I think one of the biggest reasons is boredom. Boredom in life, boredom in our day-to-day life, boredom in our relationships, where there you are, you come home from a long day of work, it might be 7 o'clock at night, you make dinner, and then what do? Do you watch TV? Do you watch a movie that's either going to put you in a bad mood or something you've already seen, or something that's just going to kind of keep you there in a certain state of vegetation, or are you going to do something outside of that box and actually work out? And I don't know about you, but when it is cold outside, the last thing I want to do is go outside at nighttime and run around. I just don't want to do it. And I've got to change my mindset on that. But what happens? I look over at Greg and he gets on his phone. And right when he gets on his phone, there I am on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter. I mean, come on, this is equal opportunity here. Okay. I'm on one of those looking at pictures, commenting on this. And some of this stuff is a lot of fun. But I find that a lot of times it takes away my joy because it feels like another job. You got to comment on things. Oh, gosh, I didn't comment on Susan's comment. Or, oh, I didn't do this or that. I should have done that. I should be a better friend. I need to do this. And all of a sudden, you're on social media for 2 hours. You haven't finished anything. You haven't gotten anything done constructive that you need to get done. You got your spouse over there like, are you still on Facebook right now? Or are you going to have some family time? And I found that the more I expose myself to social media in a non-constructive way, it sucks my joy out of my life. And I find that there's also a few other reasons besides the fact that it sucks the time out, that you don't know where the time went. It's just puff. It just goes away. It's poof, poof, gone. It's like smoke. It's gone. And what do? And I've also realized that oftentimes when I look at social media, I see things that shock me or hurt my feelings about animal cruelty or negative type news that I don't necessarily want to read. And so when I'm on there and I don't have an actual mission, I end up getting cattywampus when it comes to what I'm viewing, what I'm seeing, and ultimately that steals my day-to-day joy. Stay tuned. Check out my website, ashleyburgess.com, ashleyberges.com. Check out the latest writings and cool stuff that's on there. Things are always changing and always updating. Stay tuned because Live Your True Life Perspectives with your host, me, Ashley Burgess, will be back this time. I'll be back this time in 2 shakes.
Turn it up and jump in the deep end on Perspectives. Now, here's Ashley.
Welcome back live to Live Your True Life Perspectives, and I'm your host, Ashley Burgess. I want to ask you right now, who is stealing your joy? Yep, you got it. That is the $1 million, $10 million, $1 billion question. Who is stealing your joy? Because think about it. The most important things in our life is what? Joy and health. Okay? Without your health and without joy, you got nothing. You got a boatload of crap of nothing. Yes, money and power and all that. Yeah, those are great things too. But without joy and health, you can't use the money. I mean, think about it. Not in a fun way. You're just over there going, I just never have enough money. I'm so unhappy. Think about it. Joy is paramount to your happy living. Joy is what makes life worth living. Joy is what makes us happy, healthy people that see the forest through the trees. So right now I want to expose a few things in your life that are stealing your joy. Right before the break, I was talking about social media. And yes, social media has its place, right? Whether it's to keep connected with your grandkids, your kids, your parents, your old friends, your college buddies, your high school buddies, whatever it looks like, you're keeping connected with that. Another thing about social media is that it can help you to promote your business. It can help you to start a nonprofit type organization. It can help you bring awareness to an issue that's important to you. But when we get out of hand with social media and we begin to deviate from the reason why we're doing it, what happens? When we begin to deviate from the reason why we're doing things, we begin to get into other facets of social media that steal our joy. One of the things is we waste large amounts of time doing things that later on we can't remember what we were doing. We waste large amount of times answering questions, taking little quizzes, making comments back to people on social media, none of which we're going to ever get that time back. You know, nobody on their deathbed is going to be like, man, I really wish I had taken that 5th quiz on social media to see what what I'd look like if I was the opposite sex. Really want to know about that. I really feel bad that I didn't get to do that. I mean, even though I'm just pushing a number and a computer is just instantaneously creating this, I'm sure that it has value. You know, the other thing about social media is that when we go and we deviate from what we want to do and what we're there to do on social media, we expose ourselves to a lot of negative type news. We expose ourselves to a lot of negative type news that changes things. It changes things because we get to expose ourselves to things that we probably don't need to be exposed to. Like, for example, I am a big animal advocate. And when I see animal cruelty, it just hurts. And it's in my mind, and it's in the forefront of my brain, and I can't stop thinking about it, and yada, yada. I'm like, oh, my God. Why, God? Why did I see that? What about fake news recently? There's a lot of fake news out there that's built up to make us all feel divided and that our country's falling apart and that, we're going to hell in a handbasket. I don't want to read that. I know in my heart of heart that's not true. I know in my heart of heart that that's not true. So why do I want to read propaganda that goes against my beliefs and factual evidence? Last but not least, when it comes to social media, we do what? We self-compare. And I think that's one of the biggest leading causes of having your joy stolen when it comes to social media is that we compare our lives to other people based on what we see. And we all know that seeing is deceiving, right? We all know that what we think we see is not necessarily the truth. We know that pictures can create interesting thoughts and dynamics, and with a picture, they say a picture's worth 1,000 words, you can add and subtract and put anything in that you want that might have nothing to do with what was truly happening when you're looking at that picture. So when we self-compare and we say, wow, that person's so much more popular, better looking, got a better husband or a better wife or a cuter family. Why? But it's human nature. And I can't tell you tonight exactly how to stop comparing yourself. But what I can say is that you can limit your exposure to platforms that make comparing yourself so easy all the time. Do you see what I'm saying? So I might not be able to say, hey, stop drinking by doing this one simple thing, but what I can say is stop going into places that are selling liquor and alcohol everywhere you go. Try to divert from that. Spend less time around it. Like if you want to drink less, spend less time in bars, right? Okay, I'm not giving you the holy grail on how to quit drinking. I can help you with that, and I do that with clients all the time. But it's the same thing here. Instead of trying to figure out why we have self-esteem issues right now, which I can figure that out with you too. That's why I'm a really good therapist. But let's not talk about that right now. Let's just eliminate some of the stuff that begins our comparison in the first place, especially when it's in a media type platform that we're not expecting it. Good idea is to limit some of our exposure. Go in with a mission when you're in social media and get back out as quick as you got in there. The next outlet, the next perpetrator, the joy-stealing perpetrator, would have to be the news. I know. We need to know what's going on, but is it really telling us what's really going on in the world? Huh. Exactly. But besides the weather, and half the time that's wrong, right? I don't know where they get some of this weather sometimes. It's going to be warm and 80. It's like, it's 35 degrees and there's snow on the ground. But besides the weather, there's always that kind of feel-good segment. Now, not in every newscast anymore. Have you seen that? Yeah, they're not even hiding it anymore. They're not even trying to make us feel good. There's some newscasts that have that warm and fuzzy thing where a dog got adopted or a child was adopted or a child was saved or a cat was saved in a tree or, fill in the blank of fuzzy, good feeling vibe segment that's about 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes because they don't want to take away from the blood and gore for the rest of it, And so besides the weather and that little feel good segment that some newses have diluted or completely chopped out, other than that, what in the heck are we doing? We literally turn on the TV and open our whole home, our household, to the most negative content possible. I mean, when you come home from work, do you really want a spoonful of death and dismemberment? Do we really want to talk more about hate crimes? Do we really want to hear about how somebody was dragged 200 feet by a car, left there? And I know that information is important, but what does that information do for you? What does that information do for you besides create morbid thoughts in your mind? Besides feeling as though the world is falling apart and then we're going to hell in a handbasket? besides increasing that fear factor and making us wonder, if I walk outside of my house, is somebody going to run over me and drag my body for 200 meters down the road and leave me for dead? Okay? Seriously, because you cannot tell me what positive subset of whatever came out of seeing that. Because nothing positive can come out of that, because all it does is create more anger and fear and disillusion on how screwed up our world really is. You know, between the race wars and their whole concept of dividing and conquering our planet, and they've been doing a really good job of it so far, right? Especially the news, because we all feel as though we got nobody that can watch our back. We worry about our own neighbors, and we have no idea what to do next, and we're scared of anybody that doesn't look like us anymore. I know, right? Golly. But the news, it's like that negative person, and you know who I'm talking about, that can't say anything positive. It's like allowing them into your living room, giving them a infinite amount of alcohol to sit there and talk for hours about how awful this world is. Okay? I don't want to do that, and I certainly don't want to let that in my home. And so we've got to be very cognitive of these joy stealers in our life and figure out exactly where they're coming from, how to limit it, and how to pinpoint exactly who's doing it. Check out my YouTube channel, Ashley Burgess, Berges, and watch my latest TED Talk. I think you're going to like it. Stay tuned, because I'm going to be talking more about what's stealing our joy, who's stealing our joy, but better yet, how to get your joy back and keep it forever. Live your true life perspectives with your host, me, Ashley Burgess. I'll be back this time, and I'll be back this time in 2 shakes.
This is Jake Busey, and you're listening to Perspectives with Ashley Burgess.
Welcome back live to Live Your True Life Perspectives, and I'm your host, Ashley Burgess. I'm asking you directly, who is stealing your joy? When you get rid of joy and health, you got nothing. You might have what you think you have, but you got nothing. And I don't know about you, but I've realized that recently I've been allowing my joy to be stolen by many, many different areas. And I'm tired of it. I am so tired of it. I'm tired of it for so many reasons. And I'm not going to continue to let this go on. And so earlier in the first segment, I was talking about social media and how you have to really watch yourself when you're on social media to not really get into that negative news, to really not get into offensive comments and what have you, but also to not get into the overuse of self-comparison. You know, also I was talking about the news. Besides the weather and that feel-good segment, which most newscasts have gotten rid of, what is worth watching? What? Think about it. A lot of negative, sad stories. A lot of shootings and killings. A lot of murders. You know, you turn on the news. There were 35 murders in Chicago today. I mean, give me a break, God. I mean, eventually you sit there and you go, I throw my hands up in the air. And then if you're not hearing about that, you're hearing about how our world is segregated. We're divided. You don't see the newscast of whites and blacks coming together to change things, which is really what's happening. But they don't want us to think about that because they want to divide and conquer us, right? That's what part of this whole plan has been from day one. Anyway, and so the news really helps us do that because we get scared because we see you'll see an angry white man on there, you know, all angry white men, you know, all they're angry, they're scary, or all, you know, this angry black man, oh, well, I gotta watch my back, I can't be friends with them. What? And so it causes fear. It causes us to wonder if we can trust our neighbor, our best friends, the people around us, if we can trust any stranger. Up to now, I really haven't met a stranger that I think is a bad person at all. I have conversations with everybody, different colors, creeds, everything. And I learn something every day from somebody. And I find that the less scared and less fearful I am, the better my life is. And that begins with stop watching some of this crap and allowing this into our life to take away and to steal our joy. I've realized that the race wars and the separation and the divide and conquer plan they can use on someone else right now because I got better things in my life to do. I just do. I have better things to do, better things to use my time, and I don't want to have some deranged lunatic in my home without me even checking the security. Think about it. When we turn that TV on, we're allowing any deranged conversation, lunatic, negative Nancy into our home, and they are able to spout off whatever they want to spout off. And most of the time, we're not even paying attention. We're over there on our phone looking at Facebook, not listening to our husband or wife talk, trying to get out of cleaning up after the kid or trying to get out of cleaning up after dinner. And so all this stuff spewing into our brain, and we wonder why we're in such a negative mood. Why do I feel like I have no joy? Why do I feel like I need a vacation stat? It's because we're allowing things to suck our joy from us, and it's time for us to begin to say no. Last but not least, there are people in our life who are just constantly negative. There are people in our life who buy into the, quote, game, end quote, all the time and tell you about how the world is coming to an end. We get to hear that. And you know what? That stuff after a while, at first it's kind of like, okay, hey, that's just John talking. And that's cool. And some of the things that John says, there might be a little relevance. But other than that, really, what does it do to us? It makes us feel bad. And it takes away our joy. And we begin to question what's happening in our life. And we be able to question what's going to happen next. Are we all going to die? And so there's certain people that you got to watch. There's certain people that you got to start thinking, is this the right person for me to spend my time with? Is this the right person for me to spend my time with? Do they offer positive suggestions? Are they, for the most part, joy-filled? Joy-filled. Do they have joy in their life or do they not? Because remember, birds of a feather flock together. If I'm constantly angry and upset and pissed off and miffed about something, it's going to come out in everything I do. Okay? Eventually, it's going to rub off on you. Because no man is an island. No woman is an island. No woman is an island. We are all connected. And the people you choose to be connected with more directly relate to your own bottom line mentality, happiness, unhappiness, joy, sadness, depression. And it's not all about them, okay? It starts with you. The buck stops here, thank you. But what you surround yourself with directly relates and correlates to your self-esteem, your mental wellness, your mental illness, and everything in between. Some of those people might categorize this as the worst year ever. Or last year was the worst year ever. How can a year be the worst year ever? I mean, unless your house burned down, you lost a spouse, your child went into the hospital. Some people, it can be tough. Okay? Some people out there have had a tough time. I am not at all making light of their year. At all. Not at all. There are some people out there that have had very, very tough mental and emotional years when it comes to family, when it comes to health, everything. And yes, there have been some years of my life that are tough and painful and really just did not want to repeat them. But when we generalize based on things that happened outside of our life, that's when we have to step back and say, why do I feel this is the worst year? based on outside things that happen? Didn't I have something to do with this? Can I co-create a great year? And don't I want to have my mindset set in a way that's a very positive mindset instead of a negative mindset where literally there's no way around it? When you walk into a situation, how do you walk into it? Do you walk into it happy and healthy, or do you walk into it angry and mad? And when we surround ourselves with people that walk in one way or another, you can see the dynamic change, you can feel the room change, you can feel all that change. But you got to really sit back and say, who am I spending the most time with? Is this a smart move for me? Am I making the right choices? Is this the right thing for me to do? Do I feel good about spending time with them, or is it sucking my joy and my will to live? Think about it. I mean, is it sucking your will to live? And that's up to you. You've got to answer that question on your own, because nobody can pick your friends for you. Nobody can choose what's right for you. Only you. Again, we have all these amazing choices up to us that we're allowed to choose, but we got to choose wisely to make it work. It's so awesome, though, what we get to choose. So think about it. Open your mind right now and open your heart and realize you don't even realize all the choices you really have. I mean, you don't. I don't even realize all the choices I have. I don't even realize all the choices I have. We get lulled into this weird scenario. And let me give you an example. Years and years ago, I remember I was a young kid. I was just starting college, and I was sitting in my dad's recliner. My parents had been divorced, and I was sitting there. I was there on a holiday with my mom, hanging out before school went back into session in January. And I remember my mom had gone to bed, and I think I had like Nick at Night on or something like that. And I was watching I Love Lucy. I was watching I Love Lucy. And I love Lucy. I do love I Love Lucy. But after a while, I've had enough of I Love Lucy, and I wanted to watch something else. And I remember I was sitting there, and I'm like, yeah, I like I Love Lucy, but God, I wish there was something else on. I wish I had a choice, And for a few minutes, I really didn't think I had a choice. And all of a sudden, I looked down and I realized I have a remote control. I have over 100 stations I can watch. And I'm over here toiling about how I've seen this I Love Lucy a million times. And how if I just had the ability to choose and to change the channel, I could. Well, you know what? You have the ability to change that channel in your life right now. You hold the key, the remote control to your own life. And it's up to you to make that change. It's up to you to stop suffering and to move on with your life and to create something that you love to create, to get rid of the stuff that's not working and to move on, because it's only up to you. And that's what's so important. When I return, I'll be giving you the advice on how to keep your joy and get your joy back. Stay tuned, because Live Your True Life Perspectives with your host, me, Ashley Burgess, be back this time in 2 shakes.
You could be my luck. Get in here. You're listening to Perspectives with Ashley Burgess.
Welcome back live to Live Your True Life Perspectives, and I'm your host, Ashley Burgess. This episode of Perspectives is supported by FreshBooks. For most entrepreneurs and small business owners, there's so much to do and never enough time to get it done. And your friends over at FreshBooks feel your pain and have created something to help you reclaim some of your precious time. FreshBooks is super simple invoicing solutions that let you create and send really professional looking invoices in just seconds. And if your business is constantly on the move, FreshBooks also has a mobile app that can keep you going as well. And it's really awesome because a lot of times in small businesses, we have all this stuff that we have to take care of. We have to track the time. We have to repeat invoices. We have to send invoices, work with clients, reimbursement. And it's hard to get all that stuff under one umbrella. And FreshBooks helps you do it. It's awesome. Be the boss. Try FreshBooks free for 30 days by visiting gofreshbooks.com/Ashley, ASHLEY. That's gofreshbooks.com/Ashley. And be sure to enter Ashley and how did you hear about us, especially when you're signing up in that section. So I've been talking about joy. I've been talking about not letting your joy being stolen and taken. And those perpetrators that have been stealing your joy for a long amount of time, it's time to end this. If someone kept robbing you and robbing you and robbing you, wouldn't you stop them? Wouldn't you say, hey, you're out of here. I'm putting the kibosh down. And that's what I'm talking about right now. It's time to put the kibosh down when it comes to keeping your joy. Whether it's social media has gotten completely out of hand and you are completely a slave to your social media, it's time to let that go. You got to work on that. Whether it's the news that you allow into your house that makes you feel sad, depressed, angry about where our world's going to, all the senseless deaths, dying, and dismemberment. My God, woman. My God, man, what are you doing? You're exposing yourself to negative content in your home, allowing it to just spew all over you for as long as you leave it on until you go, oh, man, I just don't know why I'm so down. I mean, golly, I was just like, oh, man, I just feel like I feel like I got no energy, man. I feel like I got the flu or something. I don't know. And you walk around, you get angry, you slam a cabinet in the kitchen and your spouse asks you, I'm fine, I'm okay. Crap. But it had nothing to do with them. It has to do with what you're exposing yourself to. Last but not least, those people in your life that you need to eliminate from your life. It is true. You've got to make choices. You've got to choose wisely. The people you connect with directly relate to how you feel. If you are surrounded by happy, healthy people, you will feel happy and healthy. If you are surrounded by sad, angry, vengeful people, you will feel that pain. It will be glazed all over you like a honey glaze, okay? And it is not honey. This stuff's like turpentine. And it's hard to get off. And it becomes a way of life. Birds of a feather flock together, baby. So how do we get our joy back? Devil, you ain't going to take my joy. How do you get your joy back? The first thing you can do is to be vigilant. Vigilant. You got to be vigilant, baby, with your time and your energy. Where is your time and energy going? Are you on social media 15 hours a day? Are you watching that newscast again for the 19th time? Have you gone from CNN to Channel 5 to Channel 4 to Channel 8 and back to CNN again? Stop it. Stop it. It's making you angry. It's causing problems in your life, right? If you took a pill, and every time you took a pill, that particular pill, you got really violent, angry, threw stuff, and always broke a limb every time you took it, would you keep taking it or would you stop? I know you got to wean yourself off, but I mean, how much weaning you got to do? Isn't your life, isn't your heart, isn't your joy, isn't your sanity, isn't keeping yourself healthy important to you? Because I haven't even talked about the consequences of negative stuff, because when you were really exposed to a lot of negative stuff, that internalizes. When you don't get that stuff out, it causes disease. Oh, yeah, this is real. This ain't just, oh, I feel sad. Oh, I feel bad. No, this is real stuff in the real world. I know emotions, when we intake negative stuff and we don't get it out, guess what? It stays in. I know. It stays in. And then what happens there? It mutates and it causes disease. Yes. I think a teacher of mine taught me that like in kindergarten or something. If you get angry and stuff and you keep it all in, bottled in, your head's going to blow off. But what they were really saying is eventually you're going to get some sort of disease from it, right? I'm not saying all disease comes from that, but a lot of it does. What we internalize, what we think about directly relates to our health. But think about it. If you're intaking a large amount of crap every day, where does that go? It goes into your cells. It goes into your body. What happens to it? It stays there. It stays there. And until you open that door and let it go, it will keep mutating. And so remember, what you see, you can't forget. I can't stress that enough. What you allow yourself to see, you cannot forget. Be very, very conscious about what you allow yourself to see. It will haunt you for the rest of your life if you don't watch out. That's why they talk about PTSD, especially in the military, overseas, and all kinds of different training. That's why a lot of our military has PTSD, because they've seen things they can't unsee. Remember back in the Vietnam War when a lot of vets were coming back having all kinds of problems, night tremors, all kinds of scary nightmares? It's because they were thinking over and over again about the death they saw. Okay? If you have the option of not seeing it, why do you want to see it? If you have the option of not cluttering your brain with a bunch of negative stuff that you're going to have to do a lot of soul work with to try to overcome that, which it's pretty hard to do, why do it? Thirdly, don't let others steal your joy. Identify who your true friends are that have the same value system as you do. Now, somebody has the same value system as you do. It doesn't matter if they're white or black or Hispanic or Asian. It doesn't matter. When somebody has the same value system as you, it doesn't matter where they're from. It doesn't matter where they've been. It just matters that they value what you value. And that is intrinsically at the highest of importance. There's no race issues here. Figure out who you can hang out with. Figure out who's got your back and who you have their back. Figure out who's on that same wavelength and hang out with them. And all the rest of them that are stealing your joy, let it go. I'm telling you, if you stop running after them, they'll stop running after you. If you don't keep calling and picking up that phone, they're going to let you go too. But having the same values does not mean being the same color. And it does not mean being the same religion. End of story. Point made. Having the same values mean I care about life. I care about joy. I care about happiness. I care about fulfilling my destiny in this life. I care about purpose. I care about the bigger picture. I believe in a higher point. I believe in a God. I believe in God. Go that step further and figure that out, because that's important stuff. That's important stuff because it means the world. Last but not least, stick together. Now more than ever, your fellow men and fellow women, stick together. Find camaraderie. Find groups of people that have that connection with you. See it, live it, be it, feel it. Honestly, awesome. Honestly, you. This is amazing stuff right now. We're going through an amazing time and place. And it's up to you to see it, to not have your joy stolen from you, and to realize that you hold the keys to your own happiness, your health, and hold on to that joy, because besides health, it's the second most important thing that you'll ever have. Check out the website. Listen to me on Spreaker, Stitcher, Google Play, iHeartRadio, stations across the country. And if you'd like this show to be on a station near you, contact the station and have them contact me. Go to ashleyburgess.com, click on that contact page, send me your information, and I'll get back to you in 24 hours. Stay tuned, because Live Your True Life Perspectives with your host, me, Ashley Burgess, will be back this time, and I'll be back this time, you got it, I'll be back this time in 3 shakes.